Okay, so this second part of the video talks about application of footwork and things like that. So I thought I'd actually show you how we use some of the footwork patterns we used in the first video. So talk about some of the basic triangles first. Remember a couple of things we did. We play with the top of the triangle for one. So if there's a triangle, a female triangle like this, we play with the top of the triangle. Okay, so we're here at the top of the triangle. And so we play with the top of the triangle like this, right? So that was the top of the triangle that we played. So why would we use that and when would we use it kind of thing? So what happens a lot of times when you're in front of somebody, we're not going to do the stick part yet, but I'll have Pat here in front of me. So right foot's forward or whatever, right? So if we are going to the left, you know, and watch my feet here for a second, we go to the left, he steps to his right, my left. As he steps here, I'm already a half a foot off of him, right? I mean, he's already starting to cut this corner on me, basically, right? So again, if you watch that for a second, we're even with each other, you know, and then he goes to step and I go to shuffle. I'm probably a couple inches off of him already. So that puts me kind of a disadvantage. We do it again, we step again, and then he starts getting more and more of that step, and I have to make bigger steps to kind of catch up with him. So what happens is whichever direction you go, typically that foot's going to be moving. So I typically want whatever direction I'm going for that foot to be on, be up to the top of the triangle. So for instance, where Pat's at right now, his left foot's going to be at the bottom and he needs to go to the left. So what's going to happen is he steps to the left, he's going to actually step up to the top of the triangle. So he's going to step up top of the triangle, now he's even with me. Same idea, if we step again, he's even with me. If we step over to the other side, he's going to switch his feet again, I'm going to do the same thing, and that keeps us even. So whether we're doing center wallies or whatever defenses we're doing, that's a way for it to keep the person in front of me. Because again, if I shuffle with the rear foot, it's just easy for me to come up and I keep my range. If I do it this way, sometimes what happens is I can't keep the distance over, I have to make that bigger jump. So whenever you go, whichever direction you're going, you want that foot forward. So if you go to the left foot goes forward. If you go to your right foot goes forward. It's just an easy way to do it. So that's how we would apply that particular footwork. So another type of footwork we use for that same triangle is we play with the bottom of the triangle. So the bottom of the triangle is where we came here, like this. Just stay there. We came here to the bottom of the triangle. When you do the bottom of the triangle, typically is when you're inside or whatever, and there's something in the way here, right? Something in the target. It could be just a thrust here. It could be, but something's in the center, right? So that's when you would go to the bottom of the triangle to come up. It'd be the same idea. Let me have you stick for a second. It'd be the same idea if we were empty hand. I was inside here doing something. I need to go to the other side. I can't just step to the side. So what I would do is I retreat and come in. Doesn't matter if I'm bladed, empty hand, stick, or whatever. So that's when I would use that particular triangle. So again, anything that's in the center, I'm just going to step off that center for a second and come back onto the other side. So that was where I would use the bottom of the female triangle. Now let's talk about the box step a little bit, and then we'll talk about the male triangle as well. If you remember the box step, we kind of envisioned that little square here. So I'll go back over to this square. Step for a second. Over the square, and we talked about going to the box. So like this and like this, right? So where I would use that, pick up the 2 6. Where I would use that at is in my Largo, for instance. I can use it in other ranges too, but I'll give you an example in Largo. So if I'm in Largo, what would happen is he strikes here, I'm going to the side, and I'm going here. That gets me past his range, but I'm able to hit him still. So it gives me a way, if you think about my box step, I'll get off the line here so the lines don't confuse you, is I'm stepping to the top of the triangle and I'm going to the box and I'm facing him. Now I can do the same thing technically on the other side, and some systems will do that as well. But this just gives me a good way to play the Largo game. So again, the strike comes, I just come here and I'm past the strike and I'm able to still hit him, and I'm playing that circle of range. There's a couple different systems to do that. KI will do it. Komutan base system has it as well. Payati systems will have this kind of understanding of range, and they kind of just describe it differently, but they'll all use that kind of ranging. One thing that's unique to Komutan, though, is when they go to medium range, they'll go to these kind of either a traditional female triangle, or they'll go box when they go into medium range. But when they're in a Largo range, because everything's sword, what you'll see a lot of times is he'll just be a target here for me right here. You'll see a lot of times where the strikes will come here and they'll go all the way down to the ground. And you wonder why that's the case. Well, it does a couple different things. If I stay here where I'm at, that's kind of the max of my circle. But when I start going forward, it leans my weapon a little bit forward, so I'm able to get a different range and a different distance. Also, if you think about why in FMA, we always have the right foot forward. Well, one is that if I go these deep stances or whatever, and I'm able to pull that weapon all the way through, When I'm going deep stance to the left, I kind of have a tendency to stop myself. When I'm in medium range, it doesn't really matter, right? But when I'm in long range, I'm trying to get that stretch. Having that left foot forward does cut me off a little bit. So how they get around that is they want the right foot forward. So in this range, what they would do is they would go straight to the side. Think about the male triangle. When we did the male triangle before, we played with the bottom of the triangle, right? So I came like this to the bottom of the triangle. This is what I'm going to play with here is the bottom of the triangle. So as that strike comes at me, I'm going to go to the side and then right back into the center of the triangle. So that's how they would use it in Komotan and some of the other systems from Negros. Again, the strike comes and it allows me to come here and it allows that right hand to go forward and get that maximum stretch or whatever. Also, if you think about the shuffling, all this kind of stuff, the strike comes in. If I am in range of that strike, then what happens is I can just shuffle and come back in. So I can use that shuffling footwork as well. So those are some applications that you can use with the types of footworks that you have. Also, we talked about the T-steps. So why would I do T-steps? So if Pat's here in front of me, he's got 1 foot forward or whatever, and if I'm trying to chase him down, he's going backwards. I can go and shuffle, but if he keeps going backwards, it's hard for me to catch that range. So what I do is I go a step and a half, and other systems have this as well. But what happens is I go a step and a half, and that allows me to get that range. So a lot of times you'll see that with our striking, where we come here and we do abanicos and dobletes or whatever. But that's how I'm getting that range. It's a transitionary step, and it's just allowing me to get that foot. If it's a distance, sorry, stay there. If it's distance, I'm allowed to get that foot forward, and it gives me that range where I don't have it here, but I have it when I come here. So we'll use that T-step in that scenario. Anyway, those are just some basic applications with footwork. Thanks.